All right, we are live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris, and this is my channel, We Love Comics. It's been about a week since I made a video, and hope everybody's doing well. I got my 4 books back from PGX. Their shipping returns are getting faster and faster. There was a delay a couple of months ago due to some extra amount of people sending a lot of bundles of comics, but it looks like they're getting back on track. So it looks like in about roughly between 30 and 40 days, I'm getting my books back. Now, I don't spend any extra money on faster delivery, which is one of the things I like about PGX. Now, whether you use them or not is up to you, but I always give full disclosure. And I actually checked this. It's been since January, mid-January of 2018. So it's been 5 years now that I've been doing this deal with PGX. I have every single video where I sent the comics and every single video where I've gotten them back live. So you could check out every single one of them so you can make up your own decisions. I send in 4 books every month. Like I said, I've been doing it now for 5 years. I do not get paid by them. I am under no obligation to say anything other than my own personal experience. I have no contracts that I've signed. But we've made a mutual deal where obviously this gets them some advertisement. It gets me 4 books every month to get pressed, dry cleaned, graded with the signature series if needed, and also grader's notes on the back of the book, which is something I highly recommend for people. I love doing it. I mean, whether you do it or not is up to you, but PGX is the only one of the 3 major companies that will allow you to do that. And there's also a bonus for you, because if you send in 10 books or more to PGX and use the code We Love Comics free press, they will press one of your comics absolutely free. So depending on the book, it could be $20, $30, $40, $50 value. So make sure you indicate which book you would like to have pressed. And also, if you would like to add the greatest notes to the back of your book, well, not to the actual book, but you know what I mean, the back of the slab, which is something I love, use the code We Love Comics greatest notes, and it's a $5 fee per book, but you can have them on the back of the slab, which I personally like, especially if you're going to sell a book, because, you know, once a book is slabbed, if there's no greatest notes, and there are companies where not every time they'll give greatest notes, you know, the person buying it's going to ask, okay, well, why is it graded a 4.0 or a 5.0? And with the greatest notes on the back, makes it a lot easier for people to determine if a book is for them or not. Whether you use it or not is up to you. So I already see a couple of people are in here. Let's give a shout out. Clay11 is here. Chris Naples is here. Captain Comics, Mighty Comics and Collectibles. Chris Martin, a couple of Chris's. Welcome. Let me put on the video camera so you can see what I am doing. I have not unboxed it yet. I always cut the edges of the book. Well, not the book, the box. There are 4 books in here. As usual, PGX does an amazing job of shipping. Nothing has been damaged. They even put the French Fragile sticker on there. So let's open it up. And you can see they always, at least in my experience, they've packaged this very well. So they put paper. They also put the new bags that they use. There is the kind of shipping popcorn thingy-majigs. So again, well packaged. As a matter of fact, like I've said in several videos, never once in the 5 years I've been doing this with PGX has any shipment ever arrived damaged. No cracks in the cases, nothing. Now, knock on wood. So let's turn this a little bit so you can see right here. So let's get this bubble wrap off. So every month I always do a video where I make my predictions of what I think the grades will be. Of course, I always tell the significance of a book. I want to make sure, okay. I give my estimates of what I think the grade will be. Obviously, I get them pressed and dry cleaned, which is something I highly recommend you do. They put the blue cellophane, and I think I might have, hold on. If I hit the wire, it freezes it. So give me a second. All right, so there we go. Sorry about that. If I touch the wire, it freezes the camera, so I apologize. So as you can see, they wrap it in the blue cellophane as well. So like I say, they are really good at protecting your comics. I like that they do this because it keeps the comics from, bouncing around while they are being shipped. And we, of course, will go over the grades. I will tell any significance of the book, because I always send in key books, because people always ask me, when are you going to do a video about books to buy? Well, if you watch these videos, you'll see I always send in key issue books to get graded. So there are always books that I highly recommend people getting. Of course, if there are graders notes on the back of these, I will read them. Of course they are, because the majority of these are lower grade. And say it with me, low grade is always better than no grade. So let's start getting this party started. Let's start with number 1. Okay, did I freeze up again? Sorry guys, I gotta stop moving this wire. Alright, sorry about that. So it's anytime, like I said, if I hit the darn thing, it will freeze on me. Alright, so the first book. Alright, we got Silver Surfer number 1. This, of course, is not the first appearance of Silver Surfer. That is belongs to Fantastic Four number 48. But this is his first solo comic series, and also the origin of Silver Surfer. Yeah, I fixed it. So this is absolutely a key book to get. This is a lower grade book. I only paid $112 for this comic. So, of course, it's got some stains and things like that, so it is a lower grade. But even at the price I paid, I'll do decent. Even if it's a 0.5, which I don't believe it will be that low. But I predicted about a 1.8 to a 2.5 with off-white pages. So let's see what we start out with. Alright, so there you go. Pretty much right in the middle. 2.0. This definitely not going to complain about. I knew it was going to be a lower grade. Off-white to white pages, so I finally got the page color right. Usually I'm off with that. But it is the first appearance of Shalia Rai, or Ral, I'm not sure how that's pronounced. Origin of the Silver Surfer and the Watcher. 2.0, very happy with. Came out in 1968, Stan Lee's story. Let's read the graders notes, because there are a bunch of graders notes on here, which would be expected for a lower grade like a 2.0. Multiple stress lines along the spine. That basically to me says that somebody was reading it. So, book from the 60s. I'm not going to complain about that. Significant cover edge and spine wear. Splitting along the spine. There's stains on the back. Not major. But you can see along the edge there's a couple of stains. That could have been from tape residue. But it doesn't cover the whole book or anything. I'm okay with that, especially on the back of the book. It doesn't matter to me. Foxing, several edge tears, creases, spine chip on back cover. Oh, and that's that. I thought that was one of the stains. That's actually right there. It's basically the size of like a quarter of a pinky nail. But that's all to be expected from a lower grade book. Like there's color breaking creases along here. It's a lot easier to see them when it's a blacker book. But overall, the cover presents well. So for a 2.0, for a book that I spent $112 on, not going to complain about that. And I got the pages right. So we're starting off on the right footing. Okay. Next up. Okay. X-Men number 101. Now, when I bought this book, I only paid $81.24. They said when I bought this was a higher grade book. So I predicted between a 6.5 and a 7.5 on this book. Looking at the back, I could definitely tell this is going to be a little bit lower than that. It's a little dirtier than I thought. And, When it comes to dry cleaning, it doesn't always guarantee you can get it out, but we'll see what the grade is. I said white pages. Again, I paid $81.64, so even if this is a 2.0, which it won't be, I'll still do very well on this book. But X-Men 101, First Phoenix, definitely a key book to get, even with the movies twice not doing the Phoenix storyline justice. Still a key book to get. See what the grade is. All right, so we got a 4.0. So it presents better than what I thought and what the seller thought. So this is definitely significantly lower. That's going to happen every now and then. I'm not that great when it comes to predicting the higher grade books, but it is the origin of first appearance of the Phoenix. So the seller definitely said it was going to be a very fine plus. That is not the case. So with white pages, it says cream to white pages. And again, for the price I paid for it, I still will do well with a 4.0. Let's read the greatest notes on this. Multiple stress lines along the spine. I always talk about the fact if there's going to be a lot of problems with a book, I'd prefer it to be along the spine, because especially when a book is graded, it's going to be a lot harder to see it. Moderate cover edge and spine wear, weak spine, multiple creases, dirty back cover. Yeah, so I really thought the dry cleaning might get that a little bit better. But I mean, if it's in there, they can't do anything about that. But again, even if it's lower than what I thought it was, I'm not going to complain about that. So you can see they're not trying to give me a 9.0 on something that's not supposed to be a 9.0. I'll take a 4.0, and I'm not one of those people that's going to be like, oh my God, my day is ruined because the grade is lower than what I thought or hoped it would be. But it also shows be very careful with sellers, because sellers will tell you a book is a lot better than it is, and I've seen that a bunch of times. So be careful about that. All right, 2 more to go. Next one. All right, this is one of the ones I got recently. This was a signed book. The seller said this was between a 9.4 and a 9.8. It is dual signed, so I'm not going to look at the grade yet, but it's signed by Stan Lee and Rob Liefeld. So I got it for that. I paid $862 for this book. I predicted, I didn't predict. I went by what they said, 9.4 to 9.8. Let's see if the seller did me justice. All right, so an 8.0. So there you go. Be very careful with sellers. And this book looks really nice. The funny thing is, when it comes to New Mutants 98, I've always gotten the grades wrong for some reason. They've always come out lower than what I predicted. But 8.0 for a Stan Lee and Rob Liefeld, especially with Deadpool coming to the MCU. I might break even. Who knows? Sometimes, this will show, sometimes, you take a chance. Doesn't always work. But we'll see, because you never know. 8.0 is not bad. Off-white to white pages. So the seller was definitely overselling this book. But it is verified, because PGX does verified signatures. So it does say signed by Stan Lee and Rob Liefeld. It's got the different colored label for the signature. So $862 for a dual sign 8.0. As of now, probably overpaid. But when it comes to the future, who knows what it'll bring. Sometimes you just got to take a chance. You don't always win. All right, so last up, and before I show the last one, I want to thank the 12 people that have hit the like button. I always appreciate that. Don't forget to leave your comments in the live chat. So let's get the last book. So that would be Hulk 180. You guys have seen this numerous times. This is a book I was telling people for years to buy. To me, this is one of the more undervalued books out there. I probably have between 10 and 15 copies of this book, and that's after I've sold a bunch of them and gave some away in the comic mystery boxes, which, by the way, I do sell. Look in the link of the description to go to my website if you're interested in any of my mystery boxes. I haven't sold one in a while. No one's checked, but, that's okay. But this, of course, is the first true appearance of Wolverine. This, of course, is in a cameo. He appears in the last panel of this book. It does have the Marvel stamp. One of the things I always recommend people with this book and Hulk 181, make sure it has the Marvel value stamp. I had a seller one time try and sell me I believe it was Hulk 180, and they said it had the Marvel value stamp, and they even showed a picture of it in the eBay auction, and I guess they assumed or hoped that the person wouldn't check. I always double check to make sure, and lo and behold, the value stamp was cut out, so I got my money back. But be careful, make sure you check your books right away, don't wait. So I predicted, this one I only paid $84 and, I'm sorry, Hulk 180 I paid $143.50. So again, I will do good on this book regardless of the grade, especially since Wolverine is coming to the MCU as well. Again, lower to mid-grade. I said about a 3.5 to a 4.5 off-white pages. And after I read this, I'll go back because I didn't read the greatest notes on the New Mutants 98. So let's see if we can end on a up note. So far, this one hasn't been the most successful. But hey, you can't win every time. And again, it's not like I'm going to end up selling that, like, for example, that $800 Deadpool. It's not like it's going to sell for $100. So, well, you can't win them all. All right, so I said 3.5 to 4.5. Survey says that's a 3.5, right in my range. Cream to white pages. What did I say? Off white to white. So I'm not really that great on the page color quality, but that's okay. Maybe I'm partially colorblind. First appearance of Wolverine cameo. It does have the Marvel stamp. Like I said, I always check that beforehand. So let's read the greatest notes in here, and then I'll go back to the other one. So I'm happy, especially with that price of $143 of a 3.5. It says multiple stress lines along the spine. Again, that means people read it. Not going to have a problem with that, especially in a lower grade. Significant color cover and edge wear. Some foxing. Weak spine. Dirty back cover. So these were loved books. These were books that somebody had and probably did not completely store them the best way possible. Probably a kid bought this and put it away in a closet, read it a bunch of times, and, didn't take care of it like a comic collector would. But, like I said, low grade is better than no grade. So a 3.5 for a book I spent under $150 for, I'm perfectly fine with that. So I think overall, even though some of the grades were lower than what I was told, basically, I can't complain overall. The only one I'm not that wonderfully pleased of is the New Mutants 98, only because that seller was telling me, because I tried to get a lower deal. Thank goodness I didn't pay the price that they wanted, because I got a discount to make, to try and get it lower. But this person was adamant saying this was near mint plus. So that seller, a little dishonest, or maybe just legitimately didn't know. I don't want to assume. But an 8.0 is definitely not near mint plus. But it is verified, signed by Stanley and Rob Liefeld. It says, let's read the greatest notes. Multiple minor stress lines along the spine. Light corner crease on front cover. Light 1-inch edge crease on back cover. Can't really see it, so I guess that's a good sign. It's not something that's majorly noticeable. It's probably why I missed it when I was glancing over this. And the same thing with the spine ticks. I can't really see them, so they must be on the actual edge part. So, again, I'm not going to complain. I definitely overpaid for it based on what the seller said. But, hey, you can't win every time, and it's not like it came back a 2.0 or anything. And it is verified signatures. So, I could do something with that, even if I break even. You never know with how good the movie will or will not be. I guess, fingers crossed with the way Disney's going these days. So, at least they're not trying to give me a 9.8 when it doesn't deserve it. So, overall, I'm pretty happy. Again, I'm not going to be one of those people that expected a 9.8 and gets an 8.0 and thinks, life is over. It is what it is. You win some, you lose some. If you watch my videos, I tend to win more times than I lose. But every now and then, it's going to happen. So you got to take that with a grain of salt. All right, so we got a person that's advertising their YouTube channel. But that's okay. I don't care. It's not like I have 5 million subscribers anyway. If it helps you get one extra person, that's all good. He says, what do you think of the resale value of the PGX? Well, all you have to do is look at my live auctions that I've done. Most of the books I've sold that were graded were PGX. I've sold them at or very near to what the particular sales were going at the time. So I've never had a problem. CGC gets you the most resale value. That is true. But also keep in mind, if there's a book that's based on time, in other words, if there's going to be a movie or a TV show, if I get my books back in 30 days and it takes you a year and a half to get them back, who's going to make the most money if all of a sudden, let's say, for example, when the Avengers Infinity War Endgame came out, and you had the part where Captain America lifted up Thor's hammer. Now, if we both had that same book, I forget which book it is. You could put it in there. I think it's 337, 340 or something like that. It's a book that was getting very popular, where Captain America lifts up Thor's hammer, which happened in the movie. Now, I get my book back in 30 days and sell it. You get your book back a year later after the movie's come out. You think you're going to get the most resale value just because it's a CGC on a book that nobody wants anymore? So, yes, CGC can get you the most revenue, but it also bases on time restrictions. If it takes you a year to get a book and that book is no longer relevant, then it doesn't matter if it's a CGC book. You're not going to sell it anywhere close to what I did 30 days after I got the book back when it's still relevant. So time is a factor. When you talk about resale, you have to factor in all factors, not just the fact that everybody uses that CGC has always been the number one when it comes to this. CGC has been 3 weeks or less now for the moderns. I have yet to see a video that will back that statement up without paying extra for their speedier service. I've seen videos, and you can look all over YouTube. CBCS and CGC have taken an average of 1 year or more for people to get their books back. Now, if you're spending extra money to get your books sped up, you have to also consider that the cost also in what you're paying for your book overall. So I'm not spending any extra money to get these books shipped back to me, and I get them back within 30 days. So I understand that there are YouTube channels or people out there who will say the same things over and over again, and I'm not saying it's bad, because I am never going to deny CGC is the number one company, but you have to factor in everything else, and time is a factor. So if I'm getting my books back every 30 days, let's say I get them back every 30 days, the average CGC has been 5 to 8 months. Just look at the videos out there. I'm not saying it. You can look at other people's videos. I see dozens of them all the time. Again, unless you're spending extra money to get the book shipped back, which means there's more cost, which means less profit, because you have to factor that in. There is a difference between net and gross when it comes to sales of anything. So you have to factor in costs. But if I'm getting my books back every 30 days and the average person from CGC is getting them back in 6 months, I have a quicker turnaround. Which means maybe I sell it for $100 less than a CGC, but I can sell more of them faster. So there is different factors to consider when it comes to selling anything, not just the fact that something can get the most value. And also, if I buy a book for $200 and it's worth $1,000 and I have to sell it for $900, I'm not going to care about that extra $100. I'm still going to make good money. So you have to also remember why people get their books graded. Not everybody gets their books graded for maximum absolute profit. Some people grade them because the book is special to them. Some people grade them because they just want them safe. Some people grade them because they like the cover and they want to put it on the wall where it is more protected than in a regular bag and board. Not everybody gets their books graded just to get the highest resale value. But again, all you have to do is go to my channel, look at all of my live auctions that I've done, and see the ones where I sold PGX books. They sold at or just below what the current going rate was at the time of the sale. So I've never had a problem. So please make sure when you are talking about profits and money making, you factor in everything. Because if it's taking you 6 months to a year to get a book back, that is 6 months to a year you are making $0 off of that investment. While if I'm getting them back every 30 to 45 days, I have a faster turnaround. So that's the difference between, you know, going to like Trader Joe's and spending extra money on smaller amounts, or going to Sam's Club where the prices are cheaper and you get more of it. They sell more constantly. So things aren't stuck on a shelf doing you nothing. And that's another reason why I always say low grade books are sometimes even better than high grade books when it comes to resale value. Because if you have let's say an X-Men #1, first appearance of the X-Men, who wouldn't love a 9.8 X-Men #1? Good luck trying to find the amount of people that would be able to afford to buy that book at probably, what, $1 million at this point? Let's just assume $1 million for a 9.8 X-Men #1. If you have a 0.5 X-Men #1, you probably, the going rate for that is probably $2,000 to $4,000 at this point. A lot more people are going to be able to afford $2,000 to $4,000 than opposed to a potential $1 million investment. So there are a lot of different factors when it comes to selling anything. And time is money. So if you have an investment that you're waiting months to get back, you can't sell it. And if that book or that investment is based on something that's happening in a window of opportunity, and you miss out on that opportunity, you are not going to sell it for the price that you were hoping for just because it was a better company. So I appreciate your comment, and I see so many people making that same statement. Be very careful who you listen to on YouTube, because many of them that I've seen might have their own comic book stores, may have other side deals where they could potentially make money by selling books. You know, I'll do an auction every now and then, but that's, you know, to pay some bills or something. I'm not trying to say on a weekly basis, you have to buy this brand new book, and I just happen to sell them with 500 different copies of the book. You have to be very careful. So yes, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Even though this is a book, this is a video about PGX, CGC is #1, but they are also the more expensive. They are slower when it comes to returns. Their customer service is either good or bad, depending on who you talk to. Their grades have been questioned many times. There have been lots of screw-ups when it comes to wrong labels and things like that. You've seen videos all over the place. I have seen many people have cracked cases. Not once have any of my PGX cases ever cracked. So you have to think about all those things. So if you send a book to CGC and the case comes cracked, now you have to send it back again, and you have to pay for the shipping. What if they put the wrong label? You have to send it back. If it took you 6 months the last time, it's going to take you another 6 months again. You have to factor these things in. So I appreciate the comment. Hopefully you'll see that it's not always what sells the best. It is what happens for you. Because also remember, CGC does not do in-house pressings and dry cleanings, which means you either have to send it to a different company or you have to send it to one of their people that they work with that are not located in the same building, which means you have to send your books to somebody. They have to open them up. They have to do the thing they got to do. They got to package them up, and then they got to send them back to CGC. More chances of them getting lost, more chances of it getting damaged. Definitely a lot higher chance of it being delayed a lot longer. PGX has in-house signature verification. It's witness only with CGC. So if you have a book that's already graded, it would be ridiculous to send it to CGC. And I've shown on numerous occasions where I've bought a CGC 9.8 green label book because it says, writing on the cover, got it re-slabbed by PGX that verified the signature, came back the same grade, and I sold it for a lot more than what I paid for it when it was a CGC book. So again, you have to look at all factors, not just one thing, in a multitude of reasons how you could make money. And that's why I'm very successful when it comes to the times when I do have to sell books, because I factor in everything. So thank you so much. I hope you really appreciate this. We're going to give our surprise subscriber shout out to Life is Good. And he writes, first, Taskmaster is a great example after Marvel took his manhood. Yeah, which I have not yet to watch that movie, nor will I. A lot of people got the book back at half or less than what they paid. So there you go. That's a prime example. First appearance of Taskmaster. If I got it back in 30 days before the movie came and sold it, I'm going to make a heck of a lot more money than after the fact of that reveal. What a thing they do now is just take every male character and turn them female, because that's original. If you tried to sell that book 6 months later, good luck trying to get the most money out of that. You're not going to. No one's going to buy it. So time is a major factor when it comes to things like that. Now, of course, if both were already graded and both are in people's possession at the time and you sell it early, then absolutely CGC is going to get more value. But if I make $50 or $100 less, I'm okay with that, because I'll always make a profit, because I'm not going to sell something unless I can make a profit. So how much money do you need? It depends on, if you're a greedy person and you have to have every penny to the dollar to get it right, or you're just making money and you're happy regardless of what you sell it for, as long as you make any kind of profit. Now, it depends on the person. So again, a lot of factors. Not everybody is going to grade a book just for the ultimate value. Some people are never going to sell their books. Some people are going to pass them on to their kids. Some might even take them to their grave. You never know. Many people get their books. It could be a book that's not even valuable at all, and they get it graded just for nostalgia purposes. Now, since CGC is going to be longer, more expensive, with the potential of their cases being a little bit more fragile, why would you do that to a book that has no significance at all? So, hopefully I've explained this at this point. If you appreciate my advice, give it a thumbs up. And this is why I like talking about this stuff. And I don't only deal with PGX. I have many CGC books. I have many CBCS books. I made this deal with PGX because of the 3 companies that I notified 5 years ago about this offer that I wanted to do. PGX was the only one that responded. And not only did they respond, the owner, which I just talked to on the phone the other day, so shout out to Daniel, he called me and we talk on the phone. You don't see that customer service or owners of businesses having conversations with people on a regular. So to me, the personality and the being personal is a factor of where I put my money. The fact is, in the 5 years that I've sent 4 books every month, I think there are maybe 5 or 6 books where I did not agree with the grades, where they were just, in my opinion, were just not accurate, and I got them regraded. I've seen many CGC books where people, and that's the difference, because my thing is, if you want integrity, you got to call out everybody, not just one company you may or may not like. I've seen many videos, and you could look all over YouTube, many videos where somebody got a CGC book where they thought it would be a 9.4 or a 9.6, and it came back a 9.8, and everyone says the same thing. Oh, I'll take it. And nobody calls it out in the comment section. Everybody say, oh, congratulations on the 9.8. But if it's a PGX book, everybody says, oh, see, I told you it's a scam. You can't have it both ways. Every company makes mistakes because it's based on somebody's opinion. I have not had a problem with them. I've always gotten my books. There was one time where I thought my books were lost, and it ended up I forgot to put the slip in, and they didn't know whose it was. So when I contacted them, they found the books, and I gave them the information, and they sent them right out. So as far as I'm concerned, I love dealing with PGX. I haven't had a problem. I don't tell anybody you have to buy with them, or, you know, you go with what works with you. So if they work for you, that's great. If you're basing it on, well, I've never tried them before, I'm just basing it on what other people say, never base anything in your life on what everybody else says. Do it with your own experience. Now, of course, there's nothing wrong with getting information from other people, but somebody's bad experience does not reflect that it will work for you. As opposed to the same option of, if somebody's good experience doesn't guarantee you'll have the same experience. But you have to try it. You cannot, nobody should criticize a company that they haven't used. Now, if they don't want to, that's fine. I'm not telling anybody to use any company. I'm just sharing my experience. Whether you agree with it or not is great. I like the questions. I hear that one is the #1 argument all the time. But again, if you don't factor in everything else that's involved with the reasons why, you're missing out on 90% of the equation. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you appreciate this. As you can see here, that is another one of my AI pieces of art that I did in the thumbnail. I would love to hear what you thought about it. So if you're one of the few people that actually stayed until the end, put in the comment section of what you thought of my AI art. All of my thumbnails I create now instead of just finding something interesting on the internet and posting it and making a thumbnail. So I'd love to hear your opinion. So thank you very much for watching. I cannot wait for the next video. Don't forget to check for the discount codes that I provide in the description of this video. I also have other discount codes and stuff for other things that I don't mention. I also have a Patreon if anybody's interested. I think I have one Patreon member. You know, God bless him. But if you want to join it, you can, and check out some of the mystery boxes that I sell on my website and order them, get them sent out quickly and securely. So thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a great day. And do not forget, it's not you, it is not I. It's We Love Comics. And same to you, Corey. Take care of yourself, and all have a wonderful